pretend. Done. There we go. Hello, welcome to episode 445 of the Self-Help Podcast with me, Ed Lamb, and my good pal, Sean Ufford. How you doing, Sean?
I'm okay, other than we're winding up to Christmas. Life for me gets progressively busier over the next 2 weeks normally, but with this all this COVID variant stuff happening, it's like madness.
Yeah. Stranger and stranger, curiouser and curiouser life on planet Earth, hey?
Yeah, you're not kidding. Mad.
Yeah, I mean, lots of messages coming out from Downing Street and beyond. So yeah, we're talking about, is it okay to lie today? Kind of sort of based initially on some of the stuff that has been coming out of Downing Street of late, but more generally, I think we can talk. I think we have done in the past. We talked about this about. Yeah, we all tell little white lies here and there, so we'll come on to that in a bit. Before I do check out the website, livingthepresent.co.uk for all the show notes and links and Sean's blog post, as ever, and put your email address in the box on the homepage and we'll send you weekly alerts for the show and some free meditation files. But yeah, life's all right. So yeah, is it usually pretty manic for you pre-Christmas anyway?
Yeah, it's everybody. It's the first Christmas without somebody. It's the stress of having to see people you don't want to see. It's all that kind of stuff. Normally, not least of all couples that are like, I've got to spend time with him over Christmas, kind of thing. But we've got all this added stuff now and it's the thing about, yes, we're going to do it. No, we're not. It's on. No, it's off. And it's like that uncertainty is driving people bonkers. I mean, we were talking over the last one about people getting shorter and shorter fuses and kind of losing it with each other. And it's really becoming a thing, which is quite difficult. Mm-hmm. And then once you start tipping into the now we're lying business, and who can you trust? And we're all in it up to our eyeballs now because we've got this new variant. You know, do we get vaccinated or don't we get vaccinated? And I know so many people who are not vaccinated and will not get vaccinated. And I mean, it's choices. And I don't think people should be obliged to get vaccinated, but it's going to be awfully sad if people are hurt by it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
No, yeah, I'm the liberal in me is like, I'm not comfortable with the full on like police state style. You will get this shot in your arm, you will not be allowed to go to this place if you haven't got a certain certificate, etc. I'm not super comfortable with all that stuff by any stretch, but yeah, like you say, there are consequences to our choices though, aren't there?
I get the thing about you've got a choice about whether you have it or not, but I think if people are putting venues on or stuff like that, then I think people do have a choice as to whether who they allow into that. I think that's kind of fair enough. And there are cases that I'm aware of families saying for Christmas, saying you're welcome to come for Christmas dinner, but you have to be double jabbed. And if you're not, you're not welcome.
Yeah, it's all back up in the air, innit? And I guess we shouldn't be too surprised because it's flu season anyway, and we've got it's like flu plus, isn't it? So I guess in some ways things were always going to get a bit dicey, but we're creatures of habit and things had started to return to normal-ish in the UK, hadn't they? So it does feel like a bit of a shock again.
Yeah, but it's like an action replay going on, I suspect. Who knows?
Yeah, and how long? Yeah, how many more Christmases will this happen, or is this how things are for now? But yeah, I mean, on top of all this stuff is obviously messages coming from on high, from in the UK, from central governments and plenty of other governments around the world, and are dishing out orders. But in the UK, we have this we're in this interesting situation where we have a public health crisis, 100%, but we have a leader in charge who is on record almost without, this isn't me being too political, but he's a serial liar. And he's got, good old Boris Johnson's got a history of telling porcupines and getting away with it and kind of laughing it off. So yeah, your blog post this week talks about whether Father Christmas exists and whether Boris Johnson really exists. So do you think he really does exist?
No, it is a figment of our imagination. We're going to wake up tomorrow and he'll be gone. You know.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But
a lot of people.
Whole idea. Sorry.
No, well, a lot of people were kind of obviously foaming at the mouth with excitement now that he's going to have to resign as prime minister. But then, you know, who would come in place of him? Blimey, that's what you got to be a bit worried about. But yeah, I mean, for those that are watching from overseas or don't watch the news, like flipping heck, I'm very jealous. But yeah, there was a party on at Downing Street last Christmas, when, you know, the word had just been sent to everyone that we weren't going to be able to see our families at Christmas, and then apparently a party went on.
The most extreme says that 7 parties went on.
7, okay, which is obviously pretty hypocritical. And then in the meantime, obviously, there's been plenty of truth bending and lies being told about who knew what, and et cetera, and et cetera. And there is a kind of and I don't think it's entirely fair, because I've known a few politicians in my time. That how do you tell if a politician is lying? Their lips are moving. So,
yeah.
What is there about politics and kind of bending the truth then?
Well, if people are driven by power, so they want position, status, whatever it is that gives them the power, they're likely to say whatever they think they need to say to achieve whatever they need to achieve to get whatever they want. And how many times in life does someone stare out of a screen at you and tell you absolute rubbish on the basis that you're supposed to go, yeah, fine, okay. Yeah. And although I don't agree with the anti-vaxxers, I think that, to me, I have a lot of respect for science and what it's done for us. You know, the idea that people don't believe what they're told, I do understand that. You know, someone comes out and says to you, this is the most amazing thing, it's going to change your life completely. How many times have we heard that? And if it were true, our lives would be changed, but they're not. You know? And I think that we're in a world where we are sold lies by advertisers, we're sold lies by politicians. The assumption then is that we're going to be sold lies by the people that are pretending to look after us and care for us, as in health. You know, and everybody keeps going on about big pharma, and I get that. You know, and the pharmacological community is there to make money. You know, it would be quite easy to control that if governments weren't driven by the money, which would be to limit the amount of profit you could make on any drug that you sold. Could be done globally, you know. The whole idea of nationalization was so that you took the power for producing things and providing services out of the moneymakers' grip and gave it to the people, for the people. But the whole kind of socialist communist thing doesn't seem to have been a very good experiment. You know, so does that mean we're left with capitalism? And if we are left with capitalism, the next phrase that comes with capitalism, I'm sorry, is lying. You know, if we're not going to lie, we're going to extend the truth. We're going to embroider it and make it more elaborate so it sounds amazing. You know.
Yeah, I mean, winding things right back to kind of you know, I've got 2 young lads who are kind of getting to the age now where they're, you know, early on the lessons are obviously that honesty is the best policy. You know, you should always tell the truth, etc. But there comes a point, and in fact, you can tell my lads are reaching that age now where, you know, they're kind of learning how to bend the truth a little bit in quite interesting little ways. You can ask them a question and you can tell, even if you know the answer, you can watch their brains ticking and seeing how they can like manipulate, I guess is the word, the situation so that they kind of get their own way. So it's obviously something we all do for one reason or another. So why does that start happening, and you know, to people at an early age? And is there a part of it that do we like to be lied to, and do we like the truth to be bent? Because sometimes the truth is too hard to hear.
I don't know. If you wound back a few generations, so that we were hunter-gatherers or we were farmers or whatever, the issue about lying, which means very often lying is about how do you control other people. Okay, there's always going to be people around who are a bit economical with the truth. But the kind of lies we're talking about at the moment are big deal lies. It's huge stuff. So the idea that we can take a group of people and lie about them. There was a thing, it's been on before, with Freddie Mercury and the whole kind of AIDS thing and everything that goes on around that kind of AIDS and what was sold to people about this wicked, horrible virus. And it was a message from God to punish people, and that's religion, lying to the people. We get politics lying to the people. We get the commercial sector lying to the people. And it's like, at what level can we actually discriminate and start to work out what's going on? I mean, and I suppose one of the jokes with someone like Boris is if he was telling the truth, you wouldn't know, or you wouldn't expect it to be the truth anyway. But to me, it's such a fundamental thing that to me, if I say I'm going to be there tomorrow at 2:00, I will be there tomorrow at 2:00. I know people around us who say they will be there tomorrow at 2:00. If they turn up at all, they might get there by 4. That kind of thing. Doesn't seem to bother them in the slightest. But it's I suppose the issue is, are you a truth teller? And the thing I go back to a lot is Harv Eker in his Millionaire Mind program. There's this wonderful bit where he comes out on stage where there's all these people that have been on this course, they're on the course going on, and he goes absolutely bonkers and rips the skin off a whole group of people. And you're thinking, oh my God, what's going on here? Because he was vicious. And when it comes down to what happened was, as a part of the millionaire mindset, that kind of richness of mind, not just money, but like he was saying that if you promise to do something, you have to do it. So that these people had promised to do something. They'd signed a document saying that they would do it, and they hadn't done it. And the point he was making, which to me was really, really valid, was if you are not a truth speaker and you tell lies, how can you ever believe what you say yourself? How can you ever have confidence in yourself? So that he was saying,
sorry, Cooper. Hang on a sec. Yeah, someone's just come in the front door. Dogs can't lie. We can come on to that in a little bit. Go on, carry on. What were you saying, Sean?
No. He was saying, if you say to yourself, I am going to make £1 million, and you're a truth speaker, you'll make £1 million.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not a truth speaker and you're not a truth speaker, you can say what you want because you won't do it.
Right.
Which is like the people I know that say, yeah, I'll be there tomorrow at 2:00. And they know that they won't be there at 2:00. And in the end, they won't be there at 2:00.
It ain't going to happen.
No.
No. When you start to think about it, you can see that lies are everywhere, especially within advertising. So, if you wear a certain cologne or aftershave or perfume, you'll instantly be transformed into some like super rich celebrity. Even holiday adverts, they depict this amazing experience of a pristine beach, and even if you were to go to that beach in the video, it would look different because the sand wouldn't be quite as well manicured, or there'd be other people there actually sharing. You'd have to share the beach with other people. You'd realize that kind of thing.
What they're doing on my beach.
This doesn't look like the advert. And I work in the world of communications and digital communications, so I employ photographers to help with web design. I'll help sell businesses services, and yeah, photography, obviously, you do spend a lot of time. I'm not a photographer, but you'll spend a lot of time setting up a scene in terms of how the business premises will look, or the area that you're visiting. You'll take it on a certain day. So, I mean, how much of our brain can filter out the knowledge that we're not being told the full truth when we're sold something, or do we like?
I think that one of the problems is that we're being brought up in a world where people have an unrealistic expectation of what they want, and they're happy to go along with the lie because the lie reinforces that. And it's a bit like, what do you want to do in life? I want to be famous. What do you want to be famous for? I just want to be famous.
Yeah,
I want celebrity. I don't want any reason to be a celebrity. I just want to be a celebrity.
Well, I mean, your car adverts are classic for me as well. If you study car adverts like I do, especially, they'll tend to be a big, whopping, great big car being driven through a city when there's no other cars around. And they'll take, cornering at like 30 miles an hour and whooshing around this empty city. The reality is that obviously a city or a town is usually full of other people in cars on a grey and wet, miserable day, and there'll be a speed camera, making sure that you can't drive above the speed limit, correctly so, obviously. So the reality is very different, and but yeah, it doesn't seem to matter really, because we know all this stuff before we purchase things. But so yeah, we like being lied to, eh?
But do we like being lied to because we're actually lying to ourselves? Do the two things fit together? We're prepared to go along with life. So when you go to buy the car and the guy says to you, "Oh, I got the perfect car for you. This just matches you." You think, "Come on." So you're buying the lie because it makes you feel good. And really, if you spray a particular perfume under your armpits, does that mean every woman you walk down the road is going to want to rip your clothes off? We see all these guys strutting around, in the desert or wherever, because they've got this perfume on. Is it going to make you hunky?
Well, and there's a famous quote, isn't there, in the movie? I think it's A Few Good Men, Jack Nicholson. You can't handle the truth, when the Tom Cruise, the lawyer, is trying to get the what actually happened, and he says, "You can't handle the truth," because the truth is too much to bear. And he's probably right in the sense that certainly with like military decisions and some of the serious stuff that's going on in the world that we never get to hear about, maybe it's better that we don't know the truth, or maybe that's just a cowardly way out. Maybe if there was ultimately truth and every telephone conversation between world leaders, maybe there should be transcriptions of them all, delivered to people to view online instantly, so that we actually know what's going on. And over time, obviously things have been done a certain way for decades and hundreds of years in terms of the rich and powerful controlling things. Maybe that's kind of the great awakening in terms of the internet. There's a lot of people being called out for certain behaviors that's gone on for years, whether it's world leaders or certain relationships between men and women, that kind of thing, that's being broadcast now, isn't it? And the truth is coming out in terms of how things are happening, and it's quite hard to bear, isn't it? But maybe ultimately it's quite a healthy thing.
Yeah, but one of the problems that we have, and I mean, we've got an example of Boris, but I'm sure it's true around the world, but Boris can stand up in front of the media and tell lies. We know that. We see it, and then he gets caught out. And then the amazing thing is he kind of giggles and ruffles his hair and gets away with it, because we all accept it. So we actually give him permission to lie. We're saying, okay, that's fine, you lie away. Yeah, we're saying it's okay. Is it okay? Apparently it is, because we get politician after politician after politician who does the same thing. And I guess that we have to decide. I mean, this thing is it ever okay to lie? I guess what we could be looking at it the other way around. Is it ever okay not to lie? Is it ever okay to be honest?
Well, yeah. What about your life as a therapist then? Your role, because I mean, you're dealing with people that are on the edge, so sometimes literally in terms of life or death, like that.
Yeah.
Do you have to bend the truth when you're talking to people in a consulting room a little bit, and just so that you kind of bring them back from the edge?
I think that depends, but I think because people are different, you have to use a different tone or a different set of words to get the same communication through to different people. So I think that's true. But I think that overall, and I mean, I've said it before on this, it's like, I don't believe in right or wrong anymore, because one man's right is another man's wrong. Sorry, one person's right is another person's wrong, right? So that I think that what we're down to is the consequence. Can you deal with the consequence of what you do? Because that's what happens. There's a consequence to what you think, what you say, what you feel, what you do. Yep. And as long as you can deal with those consequences, fair enough. Yeah. And remarkably, it appears that you can stand up in front of the media and lie your head off. And the consequence of that is, see you tomorrow. You know, there is no comeback. Yeah. And I think the thing that people were feeling when they were getting cross with Boris was that it was okay for him to lie and there's no comeback. But other people, if they lie, then it becomes a criminal act. And they can be fined or imprisoned for it.
Yeah, and I think, well, the frustration is that, I think for certain members, or like public people in positions like the Prime Minister, in the past, had they done the same kind of thing, potentially lying to Parliament repeatedly, it would have been a easy kind of resignation offence, and it would have been done, and people would have resigned on principle. But for Boris Johnson, it doesn't seem like he's going to, or he needs to, or he feels. It's a fascinating situation, and ultimately, people, whether it's the Prime Minister or someone in your consulting room or kids, people are complicated, aren't they?
Yeah, but the fascinating thing is, if we allow Boris or anybody to get away with it, then all we're doing is opening the door for the next person to come in. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's fair. So I think that's why it's justified in terms of we got to keep the pressure on, because you may, no matter what your politics are, at some point down the line there will be a different Prime Minister of red, blue, yellow, or green. Who knows? He or she, and he or she, that person needs to know that there's a certain way to act when you're in charge of things. So you're right. I mean, we could be just seeing the tip of the iceberg in terms of where we are in the UK and globally in terms of politics. And it's not just about kind of global politics, isn't it? The people that we all know, friends and family, are capable of little white lies that can snowball into much greater negative actions, can't they?
But that's like the thing where I say, if I see myself as 6'6", bronze and muscular, I could be deluded. But do you say, Sean, no, you're not like that? Or do you think, okay, fine? Do you let me get away with my own fantastical lying?
Oh. Yeah. Interesting. All right, have you got a resource of the week, Sean?
Yeah, my one is it's a book which is like how to stop lying, basically. Okay. And it's a book which is about sort of pathological liars.
Oh. I wonder what we could send one, gift it to 10 Downing Street, and see if we got through got through security.
Yeah.
I wonder. All right, cool. And mine is an article I found on verywellmind.com. Is it ever okay to lie? So similar to your blog post, but a bit more another take on it, which is quite interesting, I thought. Cool. All right, you happy then?
Yeah, I'm okay. And I'm not lying when I say that.
Are you sure? Yeah, you're not. I could tell. All right, cool. We'll be back for more next week. Sean, you take care until then.
And you take care. Bye.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.